Hi good humans, I'm Christine. Welcome to the Tough KE YouTube channel. This is our mental health awareness series, and for this series I'll be joined by Dr. Liz Khaemba. Dr. Liz is my therapist. She's a clinical psychologist, and in this series we will decipher my childhood trauma and the impact it has on my life as an adult, and out of my personal experience you will learn how to cope with your own personal trauma if you've gone through any. We'll start off with pain. Decipher why do I have so many tattoos, for example. I have 17 of those. So please join us with Dr. Liz as we get a professional outlook of what pain can do to you from the childhood point or from whatever point you experienced any sort of trauma, and how you may be translating it or causing self-harm to yourself as an adult as a result of trauma that you didn't even know you had. Thank you for watching and learn with us. Today we're going to discuss my very many tattoos. I have 17 of them, and so let's get started. How do we go about it?
Well, tattoos are important to a lot of people because sometimes they signify a process of healing. But first, maybe I would ask, why do you have so many tattoos? Do they have any particular meaning to you?
Sips water. Yeah, no, they mean nothing.
Okay,
a lot of them.
So where do you get them?
I like one, the pain. The pain is very nice. The sound of the needle. When I hear the sound of the needle, I want to get the tattoos. When I get the first needle get on my skin, I just want it to keep going. I enjoy the pain, especially if I'm going right now through a lot of pain. It's an easy way for me to not feel that pain when I'm feeling the tattoo pain. Does it make sense?
In a way, it does. But we have to go maybe a little bit back into the history. So your tattoos, basically all 17 of them, are because you wanted to go out and get that rush of pain. And pain, what does that pain do for you? Does it then make you feel better? Does it say if you...
Really?
No? Not necessarily.
To be honest, I don't know, because I just do the tattoos. Of course, when they're healing, they're painful because it's a wound. A tattoo is a wound. Yes. It's just your skin that's being irritated by a needle. Of course, you get injuries. So the healing process is painful, the physical healing process. So I don't say I get the gratification of feeling healed or happy, or I feel confused mostly after the tattoos because I'm like, okay, now they're here and you can't take them off.
Yes.
And then I get to learn to love them and stay with them.
Well, learn to love them is when they're healed. You know, because now tattoos are quite permanent. And from what I hear is you enjoy the pain, and even the pain of healing doesn't really seem to upset you because you go for more. Yeah, you go for more tattoos and more tattoos. Now, from a psychological perspective,
yes,
if your tattoo is not as a symbol of something that is, victorious, for example, like I went through this and here's my tattoo and it just shows how much strength. So that was a good one. But if you're doing it because of the pain, then we can actually relate it to self-injury. So there is something we call in psychology non-suicidal self-injury, NSSI. And non-suicidal self-injury comes about when we want to feel pain or we want to release pain that is deep inside us. And in your case, it's because of the childhood trauma that you went through. Yeah, because you have no outlet for the pain, and sometimes the pain, for the emotional pain. And remember, pain, when we feel it also on our bodies. For example, when you have a lot of tension and a lot of stress, you'll find some people get backache, some people get shoulder pain, some people get headaches, tummy aches, and stuff like that. So even when you go through a lot of continuous and intense trauma like you did go through, what happens is the pain is held into you, and because you did not also learn how to express the pain in a way that is healthy, the pain still has to be expressed. And so you express it by using this kind of methods. It is non-suicidal self-injury includes things like cutting. I'm sure you've had some teenagers or young people, they cut a lot because they can't seem to release the pain, or because they're feeling so confused inside, a word you just used, that you don't really know what to do. Like if you have, maybe like you disagree with somebody, and you want to tell them, but you don't have the words, or you're feeling so hurt and so angry, you might then think, oh, time for another tattoo, you know?
That's correct.
Yes.
It's easier for me to get
To
a
do
tattoo
that,
than
yes.
punch your face.
Yes, but that is just poor self-expression, and it comes from the fact that you did not learn, or you are not allowed to express yourself when you really, really needed to. You are not taught, you are not given words when you are a child. I'm angry, I'm hurt, this is painful, I'm lonely. Yeah, so you now express by doing such. There are people who will express by cutting, by burning, even hot showers, you know. Yeah, but this is just another way. So as much as tattoos is not included in the mental health manual, the diagnostic and statistics manual, because it is socially acceptable. And probably that's why you do it. Yes, you do it because even when somebody sees you, nobody sees that pain that you are going through when you went for the tattoo or during the process of healing. They just look and say, oh wow, this looks beautiful.
Yeah, like this back one that says I'm greater than pain, that I got after my first visit to you. It's that one has a meaning because it was my symbol of overcoming suicide attempt. And I think it's mostly probably the only tattoo that makes sense because it's in Chinese. It says I'm greater than fear, and I felt it when I was doing it because this is really big. I have been there. I have almost stopped breathing, you know, and I didn't. And I came out of it, so I got the tattoo for it. The rest of them, to be honest, just pretty.
It's important to note that when you do come for therapy, for anybody even watching us, when you do come for therapy, sometimes the first visits really bring up a lot in you. And I'm glad that your first visit actually brought up the feeling and the thought that I'm greater than this. I can actually work on this. I have been here, I have been in this deep, dark place, and here I am, you know, trying to pull myself out of it, and I'm greater than all of it. Yeah. But as we learn better ways of self-expression, then the tattoo can be used for what it's meant to be used for, beauty, instead of pain.
Okay, so my question would be, you mentioned, so because this is pain that I experienced as a child, but for me it was, from our sessions, it's mostly discussion around my physical pain, also the emotional ones, but so now there are a lot of people that do not have the same. They didn't go through any childhood problems. Their childhood was effortless and nice, good. But now they still feel the need to subject themselves to pain for whatever reason. Like, it doesn't have to be tattoos. It could be, as you said, people who burn themselves. The reason I got shocked is because I've seen people who do lighters on their skin, and it's really a bit super weird. So that kind of person and myself, what can we do now? Because we are already here. We've already gone through the trauma. Now we are healing, but we don't know, what do we do now that we are already in this space?
I would say that kind of person and yourself are actually fairly different.
Okay.
For you, having gone through trauma from when you were a baby, more or less, and not resolving it is, or not having it resolved, and then you grew into adulthood, and then you had to deal with it surfaced. You know, you realize that it's still there in a different way, and it's expressing in a different way. It is developmental trauma where you were not nurtured as a child as you needed to be. For the other person, maybe sometimes it's just coping. They are unable to cope with life situations, and because they cannot cope, They then cope using primitive mechanisms, as we call them. So primitive mechanisms include maybe even drinking, maybe even burning, maybe hurting yourself to cope, instead of learning how to talk, learning how to express yourself, learning how to seek help. Yeah. For example, somebody suffering in a relationship, and then they take it and make it about themselves. They had a good childhood, so they probably don't have that developmental trauma that they're walking around with. But they just don't know what to do with situations. They don't have good problem solving skills, for example. Yeah, they don't have, so they use these other skills that do not, that are maybe a bit of attention seeking, maybe self-hate, self-esteem issues, self-confidence, and stuff like that. So I would say we are talking about two different situations. Yeah. But all in all, even for you, you'll need to learn some, of course, problem solving.
Like I'm writing my journal, I'm putting it on my blog now
Yes.
to the world, see it, feels better.
Yeah, and it feels good for you. And it's better than the tattoos.
Way better. Trust me.
It's better than the tattoos. So I think that kind of coping, just building better coping mechanisms, but also dealing with that trauma. Because for yourself and the trauma you experience actually made you develop some PTSD, some post-traumatic stress disorder, because there are issues that now come up. There are some fears that you have. There are some relationship issues that are there. There was some re-experiencing or remembering of situations. Lots of tears. I remember during our sessions. Yeah, and all that is part of that PTSD. Yes, it's part of the PTSD.
So is there anything, so for somebody that has not been to therapy, for example, for me, I was lucky. I managed to go start. For some people, they've not started, of course, they've not figured out, they've not even seen a therapist, they don't even know what, they think therapists are shrinks and they're scary people, because that's what we see in movies. You sit in a corner and it's different, guys. It's a lie. They don't look like that. They're nice and friendly.
We're
like
nice.
these.
You're friendly.
So for people like that at home, because for me, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing my journaling, I'm working out. What coping mechanisms can people who are going through whatever you're going through before you start your sessions, or even during when you're going for your therapy sessions, what other coping mechanisms can you use at home so that you don't resolve into the harmful ones?
I think you're already doing quite a number of what somebody really should do, but I think there's some child work that is necessary, and a lot of the work, unfortunately, I'm going to just keep going back to going to therapy, because a lot of this work that you do on yourself, you need help. The experiences are really painful. So you may do all these other things that help you on the surface, but when you come to therapy, as per your first tattoo, we dig deep, and we dig deep, and I think that safe space and safe environment, as even the memories come up, helps a lot. But there is also therapy that does not bring up those memories, that just works with what you are and what you're dealing with currently. And for some people, it works better that way. They don't really want to talk about it. They just want things to be okay. So still, we'll have to identify what works for you. Can you just say, okay, I forgive? Some people go into religion and they say, I forgive, and that's it. And they really do forgive.
It works. Why not?
And so everybody has really different coping mechanisms, but we say a disorder, or we say a mental health issue is a mental health issue when you are finding difficulty coping with day-to-day life.
I know that feeling. You sink deep. It's like it's a hole. You start here, then you start sinking, you start avoiding your friends, and boom, you've disappeared.
So you really do want to look at, how is it interfering with my life? If it's not interfering with your life, you're coping, maybe it's interfering with one small part of your life. And you ask yourself, and you see, and this is why journaling is really, really good. Because you're taking the thoughts out of your mind and writing them down in a book, and you can refer to it, you can burn the book, you can do whatever it is you want with that book. But you're able to actually see realistically what is what. We don't, you get an opportunity not to romanticize the situation and say, oh, other people had it worse than me. But you're not coping well. you're
Yeah,
not
you
coping.
accept it.
Yeah, you're not coping. So first identify what is wrong.
Yeah.
Identify, why do I have problems in my relationships? Why do I have problems? Why do I seek pain? Even in relationships. For example, you find girls, you go and meet, you're always going for bad boys. You know this one is a deadbeat. We're not going anywhere,
You
Yeah.
feel, I know that feeling, because it's not, I won't talk about those who go for deadbeats. I will talk about those ones who like starting fights in relationships for the sake of it, because I am that toxic one. Because you want to have something to make you feel
Is the keyword.
You want to feel angry. It's like you've been so comfortable for so long, something needs to happen.
But that's it.
Rattle some feathers.
You see, that is it. It's just the feel that is the keyword. Yeah? Even for the tattoos, what do you want to do? You want to feel. So
we are
is
not
it
feeling.
pain?
We're not feeling at all.
You are not feeling, you are not expressing.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So trauma and feeling go closely together. And sometimes you subdue the feeling. You try to push it down.
You don't want to feel that pain anymore. It's sad.
Yes, the emotional pain. But guess what? The body takes over. Our bodies sometimes take over our emotional pain. And at that point, we need to, then you'll feel the need to go for another tattoo. Somebody will feel the need to cut. Somebody will feel the need to run. Well, tattoos are good, socially acceptable, in the right mindset.
In the right mindset. So if you're getting your tattoo, just get your tattoo for the right reason.
Yes.
Not because you're escaping. For me, it's escapism.
Yes.
I run away from pain and subject myself to physical. Please don't do that to yourself. So in summary now, to conclude this one, for people with kids or people bringing up babies, young ones, the new generation that's coming up, how can you make sure the children around you do not go through what I am going through as an adult? Like, how can you help? Yes. How can you be of some value to them?
As a parent, first and foremost, when you're getting
even
a child,
any caregiver, as me, parent, anyone.
Yes. As a parent, when you're getting a child, please know what you're doing. Decide to have this child. Decide to take care of this child. Decide to love this child. The more we neglect our children, the more we actually wire their brain for trauma. And for these effects to show up in adulthood, for these effects to show up in their adolescence, and for maladaptive behavior like seeking pain, like poor relationships. So I would advise a child in the first 3 months needs a lot of care, needs a lot of interaction, because this is the time they develop their emotional self. And if they don't do this, or if you leave them with a house girl who's ignoring them, neglecting them, mistreating them, leaving them with a full diaper, and they're crying and all these things are happening, or if you neglect them or abuse them during their childhood, then you're setting them up for mental health issues in the future. And not only cutting and all that, but for depression, for anxiety, for conduct disorders, for OCD, all sorts of disorders. You're actually just handing it over in a plate. Yeah.
Wow.
So children just need to be loved, to be cared for, so that their brains are wired properly to be able to survive in the environment.
Awesome. That was very helpful for me. I hope for the viewers it was helpful as well. So in summary, please do not harm yourself. Also, if I can use my own words, just go to therapy. It sounds crazy because of the movies. They've set a culture where therapy is for crazy people. It's for everybody, to be honest. I do not, maybe people don't look like they need therapy. I am in therapy myself. I may not look the part, but I am a walking damaged goods. I can't call myself that.
No, you're healing.
But a healing being. Yes. Everyone is a healing being.
That's true.
So yeah, please take care of yourselves. Take care of the people, the children around you. Nurture them. Be there for them. Make sure they're not hurt physically, emotionally as children, because this damage goes with you forever. Like, you're fighting battles at an age where at 30 I have 17 tattoos. Not cool. Thank you, Dr. Liz.
Thank you.
Remember to subscribe and click the notifications button so that you do not miss out on our new episodes.